Like and subscribe right now, or this spider will crawl on your face while you're sleeping. 10 hidden messages in Pixar movies. For a long while now, some of our movies have been heavily scrutinized for containing hidden messages. Every fan knows by now that if they go to see Disney Pixar movies, they should expect to witness a lot of hidden messages, as most of the time there are subtle nods to the previous movies, and most often there are even some glimpses of their future films. Pixar's every installment almost follows the same pattern. These films are always full of emotions and have strong storyline, which makes most audiences miss the hidden messages. It's not until you watch these movies countless times that you catch on to these hidden moments that Pixar film is notorious for creating. Today, our pick will consist of the hidden messages that have been caught in the details of Pixar movies. So, everybody ready? Let's get started! Number 10. Toy Story Stories. In Toy Story, the character Woody makes a rousing speech in front of a bookshelf. But when you look closely and examine the titles of the books that are placed on the shelf, you can spot a few familiar titles, including Tin Toy, Knick Knack, and The Adventures of Andre and Wally B, which are all the titles of short films that have been produced before Toy Story. Another hidden message in Toy Story is when Buzz tries desperately to find an escape route out of the house in order to join a collection of misfit toys. But what makes it surprising to the eyes is the fact that Sid's carpet is the same design as the hotel in the 1980s thriller The Shining. Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for all of you that'll just take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. And boom, 25 years of amazing luck. Try it, it really works. Number 9. Lion King. Since the year 1994, The Lion King has been one of the most beloved Disney films of all time. The role of Simba, a young lion who embraces his rightful place as king of his native land following the murder of his father Mufasa at the hands of his uncle. It was something that hooked every child at the time. The movie has received numerous awards and is considered to contain the essential moral lesson that needs to be taught to all children. Its reference has been used in many movies that have been released till this day. In the Pixar film A Bug's Life, if we look closely during the scene of Flick soaking in the ambiance of the city, it can be seen how far the phenomenon of The Lion King's Broadway adaptation has traveled. There's a billboard at the back of the scene where you can clearly see the logo of The Lion King, making its way cryptically into the movie. Again, this detail can only be caught by an eagle eye, and not everyone has this ability to catch these past references. Number 8. Brave's Connection. Walt Disney has confirmed to all of its Fevers fans the theory that all of the Pixar movies do exist in the same universe. The grand unified theory of Pixar has been around for many years now, but was highly popularized in the year 2013 by film critics. Many movies showed a lot of connections with other Pixar productions, sometimes from the past films and sometimes giving the reference towards an upcoming release. The movie Onwards gave a green flag to the One Universe theory with some subtle nods to Brave. There was a scene in which close details on a map showed the label of the Brave Wilderness in the top right corner. This was located next to the Loch Lake, which gave reference to Scotland. It's easy to imagine that both of these worlds exist together, since both of the movies have magic within them. Number 7. Finding Nemo Preview. Finding Nemo is another more admired production of Pixar movies. It's a story that teaches us the lesson of perseverance and courage. The characters Marlin and Dory face numerous challenges while trying to find Nemo, but they never lose heart and face every challenge that life throws at them, eventually achieving their goal. 2 years before the production of Finding Nemo, in the movie Monsters Inc., there's a scene in which the character Boo hands Sully the monster her stuffed toys, and one of the toys was a figure of Nemo. So it can all be considered as Pixar's master plan. Pixar also included a sneak peek into another future film in Finding Nemo. If we look closely at the bit where the kid is at the dentist's office, we can see that there's another kid in the office reading a comic book with the label of The Incredibles. And this was almost 1.5 years before The Incredibles hit theaters. Number 6. Witchery and Monsters Inc. According to one of the theories, Boo in Monsters Inc. is a witch. Now, this might sound a little unhinged, but actually, it can be taken as truth. Everyone who watched the movie knew that Boo loved Sully infinitely. So many theories believe that Boo missed Sully so much that when she grew up, she set out to find him. She used all those doors in Monsters Inc. in order to travel through time, and made it all the way to Scotland, which is the place where Brave takes place. There's a carving in the witch's cottage of Sully, so many people believe that this points to the fact that she is a much older Boo, or maybe it's just one of those well-placed Easter eggs Pixar is always placing in their movies. No one knows for sure, but it would also likely mean that she had been to the Toy Story dimension, because there's also a carving of the Pizza Planet. This makes theorists believe that she is actually the one dropping all these Pixar Easter eggs into the other movies. Number 5. Toy Story Theory. Toy Story is a movie that displays the importance of acceptance, regardless of our differences with each other. A pretty well-known theory in Pixar's canon is that Emily, Jesse's previous owner in the Toy Story, is actually Andy's mom. The thoughts are that Andy's red hat is actually Emily's old hat that she gave to her son, and that she's the one to blame for his love of cowboys and westerns. All of this makes some sense, because if we're following the canon of Woody, Roundup would have been around the time that Andy's mom, Emily, would have been a young girl. This likely would have made her buy a Woody doll, encountered later in life by her son. But there's also another theory that Emily had Andy so young that she might have still had some of her childhood things lying around to give to him. Number 4. Rex Isn't Extinct. WALL-E is Pixar's production which shows us the importance of taking care of our environment. It shows a world where humans did not have to work or even lift a finger to do anything. So eventually humans become so lazy and useless that they get reduced to mere food-gulping blobs. If we look closely in the movie, there's a scene which shows the reference to another Pixar film, Toy Story. Of all the things that we would expect to survive our planet's self-induced ecological disaster, we wouldn't predict that one of Andy's toys from Toy Story would be on the list of items, let alone the ones that would have been extinct for millions of years. Nonetheless, when we're given a look into WALL-E's sanctuary and look closely at all the junk contained within its walls, there's Rex's toothy grin smiling right back at us. This is another one of many past callbacks that Pixar introduces into its storylines. Number 3. The Unified Universe Theory. As we've already discussed earlier, there is a huge theory which says that all Pixar films take place in the same universe. So that means that all those talking bugs, cars, toys, and monsters live under one canon. This theory was developed by John Negroni, who wrote a whole thesis in the year 2013 as to why this is possible. The Pixar timeline goes like this: The Good Dinosaur, Brave, The Incredibles 1 and 2, The Toy Stories, Finding Nemo, Finding Dory, Ratatouille, Toy Story Again, Up, Inside Out, Cars, Planes, Fire and Rescue, WALL-E, A Bug's Life, Monsters Inc., and so on. The whole theory is filled with the idea of war against humans and how machines play their part in the said war. It gets really dark, and the world becomes overly polluted and uninhabitable. All of this started with the movie Brave, which is when the magic was introduced, which caused animals, toys, and everything else to become sentient. This is a very much in-depth and kind of out there theory, but it still has some loopholes when new films are concerned, as when they were introduced, there seemed to be a lost connection among some of them. Number 2. By and Large. The company, By and Large, was featured in many Pixar films. It's assumed that this is the company that owns the Earth, and also owns the axiom on which all inhabitants of Earth moved after it became too polluted and uninhabitable for humans to live on in the movie WALL-E. It's assumed that this was the company which was responsible for the downfall of the human race in the Pixar movies. And if we look closely enough, we can identify that the company which tries to buy the house of Carl in the movie Up is also By and Large because of their monopolization. In another instance from Toy Story, in one scene, it can be observed that the brand name of the batteries in Buzz Lightyear were also labeled as B&L, which stands for By and Large. This is another one of those hidden secrets added to the films of Pixar, which connects all of the movies with one another. Alright everybody, so before we reveal today's top pick, we'd like to give a big thanks to Nabor Sood from India for sending in today's thumbnail. So without further delay, here's today's top pick. Number 1. The display of A113. One label that has been thoroughly popular in the Pixar movies is A113. This is a label which has the tendency to show up anywhere. It's shown on a license plate in Toy Story, a train in Cars, a tag attached to a rat's ear in Ratatouille, and in many other places. This was another one of the hidden secrets of Pixar productions, which had many theories. And eventually, finally providing an answer to this secret, according to the Chief Creative Officer of Pixar, John Lasseter, A113 was the animation classroom at California Institute of Arts, where many of these characters were born. We hope you enjoyed today's ranking of the top 10 hidden messages in Pixar movies. If you'd like, you can check out more of our other videos right now, or turn notifications on, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for another amazing video.